Hello and welcome to another edition of this assembly. I am your servant Yahuwah Soya and ready to get back into this yet again, into this series Redlined. When last we left off, we hear how old faithful, old trusting Yaakov was quick to, let's say, go into this room where this woman was and didn't know who was in there. So now, will he find out who it was? Stay with us and see on this edition of this assembly. Now, before we go into all of that, let me thank the Father for giving us this day, our daily bread, and for giving us of all our transgressions, and giving us eyes to see and ears to hear so that we might discern this message here today on this assembly. In the name of Yahushua, my Mashiach, let's get it started. Verse 25, and it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah, and he said to Lavan, what is this you have done unto me? Did not I serve with you for Rachel? Wherefore then have you beguiled me? He did not complain all night in the darkness. In fact, I would dare to say he probably had a good time. Now that it is the light of day and he see plainly that he was not with Rachel, now there's a problem where there was none before. If I were Lavan, I might just say, look here, go back in that dark room and, enjoy yourself. Because it obviously wasn't a problem before, but now it's a problem. And I think it's worth pointing out that in a way he compared Lavan to the serpent, the same as Kua, aka Eve, identified the one that let's say tricked her. She told Yahuwah that the serpent beguiled her. So I think this is an interesting comparison between Lavan and the serpent. I don't know if it was intended to be that way, but it seems like a comparison, at least in describing the character or describing his actions. All right, verse 26. And Lavan said, it must not be so done in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. Probably said that with a wink, wink. It seems that he should have started the bargaining with that. I really don't think Yaakov would have had a problem with that. Well, he might have, but at least knowing, he probably still would have made the bargain, though he might have added some different time stipulations so that he wasn't working 7 years for the wrong person, or at least the one he didn't choose. All right, verse 27, fulfill her week, and we will give you this also for the service which you shall serve with me yet 7 other years. So Yaakov had to have sex with her for an entire week per their customs. It seems they were definitely about replenishing the earth. They intended to produce children as soon as possible. I wouldn't dare to venture that Yaakov wasn't going to enjoy this week because, considering that he had just fulfilled a night, what's another 6 days, right? Besides, all it took was a dark room. And oddly enough, a week is 7 days, and Lavan is required him to work another 7 years. So 7 and 7, that's like 49 weeks of years. That ain't right. Anyway, never mind me, it's early for me. Verses 28 through 30. And Yaakov did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to be his woman also. And Lavan gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. Again, verse 28. Well, I'll get back to that in a minute. Yaakov made no big deal about fulfilling that week with Leah. Not only did he get Leah, but he got his prize of Rachel. In 2 weeks' time, Yaakov was given 2 women, both sisters. And both of them became his women, his woman, singular that is, each. They each had a female handmaid. For his household, he had 4 women. That is a lot of estrogen. That's a lot of work for one man. If that were not enough, he loved, lifted up, did more for Rachel than he did for Leah. They were sisters, but that was bound to cause jealousy. No loved one, particularly in an intimate relationship with men and women, will want to feel like they are less special, important, or loved or adored than another. This was bound to get ugly even if these women behaved like ladies. I should point out that there was no marriage, no ceremony, no ring exchange, no vow, no tossing of bouquet. There was no rice. No, there were no cans tied to the back of a camel. Nothing. All right? These women were given. He took them, and he took them. All right? So, for all you people who are set on believing that there were marriages, there was no marriage here. All right? None. No marriage. Women were given, women were taken. That's it. Afterwards, they were some man's woman. They weren't them. They didn't belong to themselves. In fact, you can almost presume or assume that women never belonged to themselves. They were never free to be their own people, because somebody else, whether it was their father, their mother, or their brother, the older brother at least, had power, ownership over them, and could give them away to whom they chose. Even a man could come take them, and a woman belonged to him. So women were not necessarily free to give themselves whom they chose. All right. And both women were now this man's. They were now Yaakov's. That was it. No judge, preacher, or Vegas chaplain necessary. No marriage. All right, verse 31. And when Yahuwah saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. That is a heck of a thing for Yahuwah to see. He was probably upset about that, Yaakov hating Leah without cause. Leah had done nothing wrong. Contrarily, she did everything right. She did what her father said and honored him. She made no complaint about her situation. So, even though after she was discovered to be who she was, she was just hated for no reason. So, Yahuwah, he saw this and he didn't take kindly to it. So, he blessed her. He opened up her womb, and now she has a child. So, she might have been hated for how she looked or who she was, but there were things that she could do as a woman that obviously were not hated because she conceived a child. You don't just conceive a child for being there. That happens, things had to happen. So he didn't hate everything about her. Verses 32 through 35. And Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Lavan. For she said, surely Yahuwah has looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my man will love me. And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, because Yahuwah has heard that I was hated, he has therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Shimon. And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, now this time will my man be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. And she conceived again and bore a son. And she said, now will I praise Yahuwah. Therefore she called his name Yehudah and left Bere'Shiyth. Wow. She was hated, right? Remember what I said? All of her wasn't hated. All right. Leah has 4 sons in, at least 4 years. One thing for certain is that Yaakov was definitely satisfied with her in bed or wherever else he had her, And Yahuwah made certain that she was rewarded with children, with sons. Even more interesting is that she named her sons. They were considered her sons and not his, and he did not name them. They were named by her after her feelings about what she was going through. All right. Now, another thing to consider is Yaakov had 4 male offsprings. Now, we know by now that Scripture is pretty bad about mentioning the birth of females. So, in this time of them conceiving 4 sons together, considering his his predilection for certain aspects of Leah, is not far-fetched that there could have been daughters too that were not mentioned, that were born before and during the times that these sons were born. All right, so just something to consider. Yaakov had 2 women, and one of his women was bearing him children. Now, considering that the one he wanted everything with wasn't bearing children, it could also be assumed that maybe he was putting in double duty with Raquel. So he was a busy dude, and right now he only had 2 women. All right. One was spitting out kids left and right. The other one, wasn't doing the thing. But I'm pretty sure he didn't stop trying with her. Just enjoying it. Whatever he was doing, they weren't making children, but he was doing it with Leah. And with that, I'm gonna leave this off. Gonna pick it up again in chapter 30. For now, your servant servant of Yahuwah, sorry. Y'all saying, enjoy this good day. See you next time. Symbol here at Disassembly.